let me ask you something. Have you ever stumbled upon a movie that you haven't seen in like a long time, and you figured you'll watch it because you don't typically remember the plot that well or whatever, and you just like, after seeing that movie or show for, for like the first time since forever, however it may be, it, in a way, it kind of surprises you on how much you forgot the plot, how much you've forgotten the plot. Now, this movie in particular, is, a favorite, and I'm sure it's something no one really forgets. But every now and then there's some minor details in there that a person may have missed or so that may have rolled past their heads. I was watching Forrest Gump the other day, and there were definitely parts of the movie where I saw myself where I saw myself in Forrest's shoes. And, for a movie that came out in the 90s, and it was still like a period where like autism wasn't really that well known. And it was good to have some sort of reparation on that piece. Tom Hanks portrayed the character as like, he kind of like was slow to speak, but he was, quite a bit of a chatty Cathy, but he definitely had his remarks, and he got to do a lot of things and was responsible for, a lot of historical things, for teaching, for inspiring Elvis, for his dancing, helping catch the break-in at Watergate. It's pretty cool to, while, fictional movie, it's still pretty cool to see, a character being able to be that spark to help create his, important pieces of history. I still saw myself in him because this was someone who, when his mom wanted to put him in that, wanted to get him into the regular ed school, but that principal didn't want to, and yet Forrest was able to like do well in life, not just making history happen, but meeting Jenny and serving in Nam and starting a shrimp fishing company. It's amazing. Well, that was due to the inspiration of Bubba, but that's still, this is still the point. It's amazing what people on the spectrum can achieve, and every film has their underdog. Every main character of a film is an underdog. It is an underdog. You're rooting for that character. You want the best for them, and when that protagonist is someone you can relate to on a personal level, because you look at them and you can see a bit of yourself in that character, it just reminds you of the goodness that can come to your life, and the adversities you'll have to get through in the way to achieve it. Now, obviously, I'm probably not going to, stop the President of the United States or inspire the next generation singer or dancer, but I have my own desires on what I want to become. And, you know, when you're an underdog, you want to make those desires happen because, you know, you have a lot of pressure on you, whether it's from other people around you or you're putting the pressure on yourself. You're trying to overcome stuff and try to prove people wrong. And you're trying to prove that, you know, despite your diagnosis, anything is possible. For instance, when Forrest got those leg braces, you know, he eventually was able to, you know, stop wobbling around like a penguin and was able to, like, run so much to the point where he just broke the braces, and he's running all around the country just because he wanted to. Nothing was stopping him, and he was, you know, making headlines. He was inspiring people. It's, you know, I kind of saw myself into him. I was making paper headlines. You know, and it's good because, you know, when you see, you know, a lot of the news, you know, it's a lot of the negative stuff, you know, around the world, mostly in the country. But the positive stuff coming from, you know, people who are diagnosed with a certain disorder, that gives people hope in life. That gives people a feel-good feeling. Because it lets people know that anything is possible, and that autism is just something that's part of you. Forrest was able to, you know, have a real good friend, Jenny, and to the point he married her. He was able to serve his country. He played ping pong for the U.S. Army, played in China. Like, Forrest had these gifts that he didn't know he even had, and he was out here, you know, inspiring people. He was drawing attention to him, and I guess it's just something I just kind of hope for myself, and when I look at Forrest, I hope to see the best of myself in the future, to make myself the greatest person I can be. You know, I wish I did have the social skills of Forrest, but I'm just part of that package of the autism spectrum. But, and like another thing is that, like, the film doesn't really straight up say that Forrest is diagnosed with autism, because, you know, the film was set during a time where autism wasn't really that well known by people. And, you know, it probably wasn't even a name for it yet, or a name that didn't really catch on. It was just referred to as dumb, stupid, the R word, and, you know, that stuff can tend to bring people with disabilities down. I mean, it hurts, but it didn't stop Forrest from doing whatever he wanted. He was still able to start the shrimp boating company and get Lieutenant Dan to serve by him. And, you know, the business started out slow, but eventually it became successful, and Dan not founded, but he invested into Apple or Mac. I forget what it was at the time of the 80s. But anyway, like, Forrest, you know, got to a point where money was not a problem for him in life. and Forrest became successful financially. He got to, marry his best friend. He was very lovable and brought a lot of, he had a lot of charm and knew how to tell a story. He got to meet a lot of famous people, be around in historical events. He overcame a lot with his disability. And, seeing that movie for the first time in, forever, I had not seen the whole thing in the past, but I saw, a good bit of it in the past, but it's a good reminder to not just people on the spectrum, but to anyone to just be themselves and to try to find the best ability in themselves and realize that the world is their oyster, that anything can be possible if you just didn't worry so much.